Let's talk about one of the best ways to improve your art while having fun. Because if we aren't having fun, then why bother? Why bother doing this if we're not going to have fun? We make art. We make art because we love it. So let's make sure we're having fun while improving. And I know that improving feels very satisfying. It is something that's built into the human experience. Seeing ourselves progress through a hobby is wonderful, but let's still make sure that we're having fun. And one of the best ways to do this, one of the best ways to achieve this combination of fun while improving is project-based learning. Wow, project-based learning, woo, let's go. And honestly, project-based learning, this strategy of learning is useful for all kinds of hobbies. It's not just specific to drawing. It's something you can apply across the board for anything that you're trying to improve on. So how does this work? The way project-based learning works is that we will be defining a project, an outline, like create a small outline of the project that we want to create. And then we do finished pieces within the theme that we've set forth for ourselves. Let's quickly discuss why project-based learning works, and then I'll give you a loose guideline of how to actually outline your project in a way that works well, especially if you are a beginner. We want to talk about the scope of the project so that it doesn't become overwhelming. But let's first discuss, why does project-based learning work so well? The reason project-based learning works is because it gives us the opportunity for iterative learning. So if you do, let's say, 3 pieces in a series in a specific theme, after you do the first piece and you finish it, and you're applying the same theme to the second piece, it gives you room to look at the first piece and decide on the things that you want to improve on. The repetition of the theme makes it easier to see areas where you can improve, and it gives you a very quick loop where you get to apply those lessons almost immediately. And this is very, very effective. This loop of doing something finished, learning from the first finished piece and applying those lessons to the second piece, and then doing the same thing for the third piece. Doing this loop is very, very effective. One of the downsides of doing studies and exercises all the time is that there are these standalone exercises that sometimes don't really exist within the scope of something that you can be proud of. Now, obviously, it's very valuable to do studies and exercises. I love them. They're absolutely super valuable, especially if you're brand new to drawing. But if you are trying to apply your lessons in a way that will make the lessons stick a little bit more, you want to be doing finished pieces. There's this level of fulfillment that you just don't get when doing studies. And I know it's very tempting to stick to studies and exercises because they're low pressure, but I do think that doing finished pieces gives you this opportunity to feel so fulfilled and satisfied with your work that it's definitely worth the risk of failure, right? One of the challenges with doing finished pieces is that you'll be confronted with all the different skills that you haven't practiced yet, but that is why you should be doing it, right? The scarier it is, the maybe more we should be doing it. Now let's discuss how you can structure your project and how we can develop the scope for our project without it being too overwhelming. Now, to be very clear, it's your personal project. You can make it however you want it. You don't have to structure it the way that I'm going to suggest. It is completely up to you. But I'm just going to provide some loose guidelines here because I do think that if you are a beginner artist, it might be helpful to start with a smaller project so that you can finish it and have the satisfaction of finishing a small project. And then if you decide to do a bigger project, you move on to a bigger project. But starting with something small, something manageable, I do think is better if you are a beginner. But yet again, it is personal. So if you want to take on a bigger project, go ahead. If that is what is exciting to you, go ahead and do that. For beginner artists, what I recommend is that you pick a theme and you do 3 separate illustrations, and that be the entirety of the project, right? A project can be as small and big as you want. So 3 drawings is a finished project, and they could be 3 loose sketches, right? They don't have to be this completed illustration necessarily. They could be 3 sketches in your sketchbook, but you want them to all 3 to be within the same theme with the same medium, right? So you want them all to be, there has to be some sort of repetition for this loop of learning to actually be useful in our project learning. So one popular theme, just to give you some idea, might be like the zodiacs. You might pick 3 of the different zodiacs and you might do them as 3 different types of characters. And you can also add other elements to this, right? So you can do 3 zodiacs that are fairies, for example. And that's just like a very common idea. This is something that a lot of like art schools will teach, that those types of themes, but the theme could be literally anything, right? It could be 3 different flowers. It could be 3 of your favorite anime characters or cartoon characters in a specific style that you're going to apply. Like you can really combine anything and make it a theme and just do them 3 times, apply them to 3 different characters. I would recommend you start with that as a beginner artist and try to make them small, right? So instead of doing large illustrations, do smaller illustrations. That way you can finish them quickly, and be very realistic about the amount of time that you have to do these drawings. You don't want to set a scope so large that it would take you many years to finish. The reason why I'm recommending this is so that you don't get demotivated. If you develop this grand goal that feels exciting at first, the problem is that motivation will shrink over time. It'll be very hard to stay motivated over a long period of time if you've never finished a project before. So if you are someone who's dreaming of doing a comic book, instead of doing a full comic book, how about do a short comic, do a couple of panels, and that be that first project. And then maybe the second project can be a larger set of comics. And doing it in small batches like this will make it way easier for you to stick to it, and also so that you can feel fulfilled at the end of it. And this satisfaction will make it easier to do bigger projects, because then you teach your brain that, like, hey, when I put in this type of effort, when I do these finished projects, I feel really good at the end. Therefore, you can push it further and further out and still stay motivated throughout the process. But you want to start with smaller projects. If you are a beginner artist, start small, do something that you know you can finish. And then when you're done that, then you can increase the scope over time, and then you'll have a better understanding of what you like and what you don't like. This is especially important if you've never done finished pieces, you've never done a project before. You might not really know what medium works well for you. So doing 3 pieces in one medium will teach you a lot. It will teach you that, hey, maybe this medium doesn't work for me. Let me try to do another project with a different medium. With that said, you don't have to force yourself to finish every project that you start. If you do the first piece and realize that, hey, honestly, I just want to do this one piece, I did not want to do the second or third, then you can just scrap that project, start a new project, and find what is exciting to you. You only want to be doing drawings that are actually exciting to you. If you're not excited about it, then it's not really worth it. So the whole point of doing project-based learning is that you should stay excited about the project, even through the dips. So there's going to be dips in the project where you might feel a little bit challenged. You might feel a little bit like, oh, I'm just not in the mood to finish this piece. You might have those feelings once in a while, but it should not be a consistent feeling. If you're never excited about the project, then scrap it. But if you go through a dip where maybe 1 or 2 days you just don't feel excited, you just don't feel motivated, that's completely natural. But really look out for this dreadful feeling. If you feel like it's a chore, if it feels like homework, and you're just like doing less and less drawing, then scrap that project, start a new one, figure out what is exciting to you, maybe switch to medium, maybe switch the type of paper you're working on, figure out what works well for you, and figure out what will make you excited. So if a certain type of rendering doesn't work for you, switch the rendering style. If a certain theme doesn't work for you, switch the theme, and just keep experimenting until you find a project that is exciting for you and it is easy enough where you actually finish it, and then learn from that and explore yourself in that way. If you are interested in getting my 12 years of drawing experience for free, then make sure to sign up for the mailing list below, where I'll just send you short emails every couple of days that have very short lessons and advice that are based on everything I've learned over the 12 years I've been drawing myself, and also the 6 years I've been teaching beginner artists how to love their drawing experience while also developing their skills. And whenever you are ready, I will see you over in the Mindful Drawing course, which is basically just like a big personal project where we will focus on intuitive drawing and personal exploration, just like looking inwards, figuring out aspects of ourselves, exploring gratitude and dealing with our expectations and the inner critic, those types of things. Whenever you are ready for that, I'll see you over in the course. And if you're not ready for that just yet, I'll see you when you are ready, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Oh my God, ending these is so hard. Why is ending these so hard?